Welcome to the Team World Motivation Blog Talk Radio Show. We will kick off our motivation session with some affirmations, and after that, a good motivational mindset, destination motivation, get up, get out, and do something. Hot topic of the day. And our hot topic is actually stress and what stress does to the body. Because one of the main things is that stress can actually deplete your body, deplete your energy, and change your whole vibe, your mantra, and your mindset, and things like that you're trying to do with your life or the things that happen in your life. I'm not saying that, motivation doesn't require you to also not be motivated when you're going through levels and depths of stress. But you need to be able to learn how to overcome that stress, de-escalate from the stress, and then restart over and move forward from that stressful moment. Lord knows I deal with it all the time, but at the same token, I have learned to be resilient with that and those that go out their way to stress me. But I'm also teaching you ways to be able to de escalate from that and learn how to move those stressors or stress factors or stressful events that come along that are unpredictable, but sometimes, even in some aspects, can be predictable, dealing with certain things within your life or hardships or things that you're going through. And there are some people who actually go out their way to stress you, and you have to get to a point that you're able to de-stress, de-escalate from that, and learn the effects of what stress does to your body if you allow it to get to you mentally, emotionally, or internal, and then it exudes external. So the main thing is being mindful of the actions and the things that happen in that moment, harnessing it, accepting that you are stressed at that point, but learn how to de-escalate, de-stress, and what I call stair step down from the stressful moment or the emotional feeling of whatever it is that comes through your body at that moment. And that's what I call that energy. It's either positive or negative energy. And what you want to do is get rid of that negative energy. But we're going to start off with the affirmations and whatnot so that we can move our way into what stress does to the body and then what you need to do in order to take care of yourself, better take care of yourself when you're stressed, or learning how to de-stress and come down off that stressful moment, stressful thought, or stressful actions that cause you to be even further stressed, extenuating long term. Because in all of that and de-stressing is learning how to be motivated while you're stressed and being able to de-escalate from that stress and still continue to have that same energy, same motivation. Get up, get out, do something. Don't let the world pass you by mindset, and having that global motivation and that team world motivation mantra and mindset within you, which gives you that illuminated energy, a light energy, and giving yourself that team spirit, like your own team player, and then what I would call your own team leader, team captain of how you de-stress and how you de-escalate and how you illuminate yourself into a level of a higher zone, a whole mindset of mind, body, and I will not stress. I will de-escalate from my stress, and I will find a way to channel my stress into motivated energy. So let's go into our affirmations, and that will help you to understand everything. But the main thing with affirmations is to help you to really get yourself motivated before we go into this Team World Motivation session about it. Because, like I said, you want to feel positive energy. So I'm going to go ahead and give you some of that. So let's start in with a breathing exercise. Okay. So say to yourself, I am diligent. I am proactive. I am disciplined. I am self-confident. I am light. I am confident. I am now. I am growing. I am modest. I am ready. I am brilliant. I am intelligent. I am ready for the next step to destination motivation. Don't let the world pass me by. So, with that, we're going to talk about how stress affects the body. And the reason why I say this is that if you don't be careful, you will start to notice how you get hooked into stress instead of getting unhooked into de-stressing. And here's the thing. You can hook yourself into staying stressed, or you can unhook yourself from the stress and then get hooked into being a non-stressed person and having a level of getting hooked into being calm. It's I am calm. I am unstressed. I am motivated. So with that, let's discuss this. How stress affects your body is that it affects your skin, your muscles, your lungs, your liver, your immediate, urgent, and stress response is that your body begins to affect itself internally and externally, and you start looking stressed after a prolonged period of time of being under stress. So what you want to do is understand that stress affects the blood, the sweat glands, the bladder, and things like that. What you don't want is tension, where you're always in fight or flight syndrome and you're always in panic mode, stress mode, anxiety mode. You want to make sure you're getting enough air so your lungs can dilate, breathe, and provide more oxygen so your body can actually pump more blood and you can actually function and not be tired. Then you got to think about your liver, your kidneys, and things like that. The short distances the sugar has to go take, but your body can't process overloads of sugar. So you have to think about those different things when you're compensating when you're stressed and eating something that's unhealthy. Then you got to think about your digestion, the processes of the parasympathetic, sympathetic nerve being taxed with cortisol and being aggravated all the time. It causes those levels and depths of your mouth to get dry and your digestive system to be off track. And then you start getting out of whack about going regularly and doing things like that because your body's so stressed and constantly in fight mode. Then on top of that, you have to think about your sweat glands and things like that. You start to excessive sweat, your body chemistry, your hormones, and all that kind of stuff tend to kind of like actually start being affecting how you actually get around and the sense of smell, things like that, all the different things of your body, your central nervous system, and all that. Those things get absolutely affected, and those are the physical things. Because what you're going to start feeling is the muscle tension, the headaches, sleep disturbances, increased breakouts, rapid pulse, nausea, indigestion, increased sweating, flushing, or prolonged frequent headaches, or susceptibility to illness, dizziness, faintness, breathlessness, chest pain, ongoing nausea, stomach ache, or ongoing fitful sleep. Sleep disturbances are the worst thing you can ever have because your body is never turning off and it's always in constant stress mode. And then you have to think about behavioral and emotional. Those things alongside of thoughts and perception, which goes into mental health, all of that goes hand in hand when you're stressed out and whatnot. And you have to think about your appetite changes, compulsive eating, binge eating, or even becoming more susceptible to eating disorders from being stressed out. Then you have to think about impatience, carelessness, poor productivity, low energy, avoidance of situation, places, people, and things, change in sleeping patterns, increased alcohol, cigarette, or if you are a person who copes wrongfully with illicit drugs or anything else or anything outside the realm of recreation and whatnot, if it's not prescribed, you're tending to have unhealthy coping mechanisms that cause you even more stress because you're starting to alter other things outside that are external, like your finances and whatnot, indulging on things that are going to help you to cope, but they do not help you cope long term, and they're unhealthy coping mechanisms that I don't recommend. Then you got to think about increased absenteeism, aggression, irritability, sudden tears, emotional. That's where that behavioral and emotional go hand in hand with anxiety, stress, moodiness, grumpiness, loss of sense of humor, withdrawal, feeling of isolation, low self esteem, feelings of guilt and shame, extreme anger, and loss of libido. And then overwhelming feelings of panic and anxiety. And that goes hand in hand with your thoughts and perception. When you're stressed, you have the inability to make good decisions, muddled thinking, reduce coordination, creativity, and feeling like lethargic, like you don't want to do things. Negative, globalization of everything, like literally you're negative in your mindset, your actions, your words, your mannerisms, things that you do, and it starts to exude outward, and people start seeing that. Well, then everything seems to go wrong or it's bad. Then you have to think about, the fears that set in, or, defensiveness or rush decisions, oversensitive to criticism, poor concentration, negative self talk or self doubt, fear of failure or feelings of unfairness, or can't ever switch off. And those things go hand in hand with what you need to be doing to try to get yourself to a point that you no longer stress. Because all of that affects you. And think about this. Do you want yourself to always be stressed out? Do you want to be in that mode of always feeling like, okay, I can't never get anything done, you know? Or it's always going to be that moment of woe is me, how come, just everybody's against me, that type of stuff. You don't want that. What you want to do is make sure that you're doing certain things that are important in retrospect of getting yourself to de-stress and getting hooked into de-stress mode. And let me show you how. So what we're going to talk about with the getting hooked is that in an act, like meaning our actions, we talk colloquially of being hooked by your mind or hooked by thoughts, by which we get all caught up in our thoughts and then we exert a strong influence over our actions or reactions. And in what situation does your mind manage to hook you, either good, bad, or negative or positive? Then think, what sort of things does it say in order to hook you? How do you manage to unhook yourself when you have negative connotation or negative self deprecating thoughts? Do this exercise, and it will help you to identify when you're doing this, where you're doing it, and how. So, in the columns, you'll have the date and time, triggering events or situations or people. Then, what you'll do is think to yourself, what did your mind say or do to hook you at that moment? How did your behavior change when you got hooked? And how did you unhook yourself? And what did those actions cost you? Or what did they gain you? Then you also think, did you manage to unhook yourself? Or if so, how? Start documenting what you're doing to do that, because in unhooking, you're able to get yourself to be able to connect the dots, mind, body, and then you're able to look at the vitality and suffering. And then you're going to start being able to reduce the levels of suffering and increasing your vitality in that. Then you're going to also go into expansion. And what I mean by expansion means opening up and making room for difficult feelings, urges, and sensations. Therefore, allowing yourself to flow through that moment or that situation or with people you're dealing with. Because you don't have to like or want these feelings when that happens, but you have to make room for them and allow yourself to process them. Then you can invest yourself in energy in doing meaningful life enhancing activities or things like that to counteract all of that instead of struggling, or being on a struggle bus trying to go and figure out how you're going to distress and making yourself more stressed out. But you'll have an action plan. And like I said, in the act of understanding that I need to unhook myself from staying stressed, but to hook myself into de stressing. Then from there, you look at the date and the time and the feelings and sensations, and then how long that you did this. And then on a scale from 1 to 10, you have to look at if you're able to switch easily, if not easily, from 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Then also think about the different things that you use and the benefits and difficulties that came along. So while you're documenting all of that, that will help you. And then also, I wanted to also let you guys know if you need these forms and things like that, or you need something that's already pre-done, I will have those up and available on the Team World Motivation website. And you can also call Team World at the local number, and that is 404-418-5104. Or you can call the toll free 1 800 number, which is 1-888 727 9323, or 866-727-9323. And then you also can do the fax, which is 866-748-2551. And make sure when you fax in your documents and things like that, when we have our coachings and whatnot, you'll fax it into 866-748-2551. Put your name, your client number, and if you don't have a client number, put what it's about, the who, what, when, where, and why. And then make sure that you actually tell me exactly what form it is that you have turning in, and then I'll get it, and then we'll go over it if you have any questions and whatnot. Again, the number is 866-727-9323. Make sure you give us a call if you have any questions and whatnot, or you can call that local number, which again is 404-418-5104. And again, we're going to go into the next section, which is self care. You need to, when you're stressing and things like that, to be able to understand self care is important. It's the most important thing that you could ever, 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 ever do. Because if you don't,